I was 1.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, stage 4, and it had metastasized to my liver, tummy, spleen, and it was all over in my abdomen at that time. I was quite shocked knowing that it's called the silent killer because you get symptoms quite late. My symptoms was I had pain up in my top of the right lung and I couldn't breathe properly. So after they made a ultrasound exam on me, they saw there was something wrong, so I went through the CT scanning and a gynecologist told me that it was ovarian cancer. I was absolutely totally devastated and I was in panic, not knowing what to do, and after 4 days after I got the diagnosis or laying at home, I suddenly thought about one of my patients. I called her up and asked her, "Marisa, please tell me what I had to do." And she said, "Quit sugar, quit fruit, everything with sugar in it." So I did that. So most of my food was fruit and it was granola. So I stopped that. And she told me later on, stop with all the other things that develops into sugar, like bread, rice, potatoes and pasta. So after quitting that, the first thing was the sugar and the fruit. That was on the 4th day after the diagnosis, and I had a tummy standing out like I was 8 months pregnant, and it was hurting. 24 hours after I quit sugar, my tummy was totally flat again. And I was just absolutely stunned, like, wow, this is amazing. So I was convinced at that point. What happened is I did parallel. I did the raw food, living raw food, and I started with, after I had the operation, they removed everything of the cancer except a little piece what was on my falciform ligament was holding up the liver. And a month later, after operation, I started on the chemo. I was okay in the beginning. I didn't have too much side effects, and looking parallel with other people who went through chemo, I didn't have that much troubles with the chemo, except the neuropathy, losing sensation in my fingers and my hands. But other than that, I was quite okay. I did go slowly downwards. And by the 3rd treatment, I started getting more pain, but also my cancer markers, CA 125, what you take out of the blood, is a protein, and they check what the level is. They saw that start raising also. But the gynecologist said, "No, it's just your intestines that's hurting you." I said, "Well, it's not what I'm feeling. I feel something else. This is not good." So by the 5th chemo, they put me through the CT scanning again with contrast and sugar. That's how they figure out where the cancer is, because that wants sugar. I was bloating. I had much more cancer back even before the operation. And of course, we stopped the treatment straight away. I went to the oncologist and spoke to her and said, "What now?" And she said, "Well, what we do now is that you get the same chemo that you've had, but we just do it once a week instead of every 3 weeks." And I was absolutely shocked. I said to her, "Would you do that to your mom or your daughter? Give the same kind of treatment?" And she said, "Yes." And I thought, I need to get away from this lady. We don't have a match. But that's the way they're educated, understand that now. Got another oncologist and I spoke to her, went to another hospital to get a second opinion. That was a lady up in her 60s with a lot of experience. And she said, "You're doing the raw food. Seems like we can't do a lot for you experimental wise. We would like to use your body to see if it works or not. But you don't have a huge chance. And there's like 2 months, maybe 6 months, you will still have to live in." And that was it. So I went over here straight after this and I started on the raw food, learning it to the points, and went on. And I spoke to Anne-Marie Clemens about how long I had to wait before I go back and get my cancer marker and all my blood results back. And she said, "You need to wait at least 3 months." So I waited 3 to 4 months. So this last year, in August approximately, I went back and had my blood done. And my blood itself, white blood cells, red blood cells, was still way out of control, too low, and other inflammation were also up high. But just before I left to Hippocrates, that was April last year, 2014, and in August. In those months, my cancer markers was up 100. I didn't know that at that time. And after doing Hippocrates in August, it was down to 50. So it was just like, wow. And I'm sensitive to the cancer markers. A lot of females are not. So I was so happy, and I was like, yes, this is working for me. And just kept on living the program and living like that, and being happy and being, grateful for that I'm alive and that I've taken this choice. But also coming here again after half the year, see the people here who are healing up. One lady had a big bone cancer in her jaw, and it was like the size of a big fist, and it was treated with all kind of supplements, but also the wheatgrass and different treatments. And by the third week, it has shrunk to like 1/3 of the size. And I've seen so many other people around here. That was just so visual. They're so easy to see. I also I lost 40 pounds. And so that's approximately 17 kilos. Of the 40 pounds, 35 pounds was taken by the chemo, and 15 pounds was the diet here. And I had also, that where I was quite skinny, and I had a big tumor. It was like 6 by 4 centimeter next to my navel, so it was easy to hold on. That was still growing after the first half year on the diet. And 3 months later then it starts shrinking. And it went down to the size now. It's approximately an inch. That's it, what is left of it, 2.5 centimeter. But it's disappearing slowly. Even the metastasis I have on my liver has stopped growing, on my tummy stopped growing, and even on the spleen has started decreasing in size. It's just amazing. And the oncologist just says like, go on with the work, what you're doing. It's doing fantastic. So keep up the positive work.